The moment Emily walked through the door, suitcase still in hand and a glow on her face I hadn't seen in months, I knew something had changed. Not the kind of change that comes from a vacation or laughter with friends. It was the kind that seeps out of someone when they've touched something forbidden and can't quite hide the memory of it. She dropped her bag, stretched her arms and smiled. You wouldn't believe how amazing it was, Noah. The lake house, the hikes, the wine. God, I needed that. Her voice was light. Too light. I forced a smile, masking the unease curling in my stomach. Yeah, I said, keeping my tone casual. How was Mike? Her smile froze. Just for a second. A fraction of a blink that most people wouldn't notice. But after 8 years of marriage, I saw everything. She laughed, the sound sharp and nervous. Mike. Who's Mike? Shrugged. Oh, I don't know. Maybe the guy whose name you mentioned on your last call before you lost signal. For 3 days. She blinked. Her hand fidgeted with the strap of her purse. That was... Oh, Mike. Right, yeah. He's a friend of Sophie's. He drove us up there. Why? I said nothing. Just watched her. The silence stretched between us, heavy and deliberate. For a moment I thought she might confess right there. But instead she smiled again, too fast, too practiced, and walked past me into the kitchen. That's when I knew. For the next few days, I tried to convince myself I was being paranoid. That the flickers of her phone screen at midnight were innocent. That the sudden care she took with her appearance, lip gloss for a grocery run, perfume before sitting down to watch TV, was nothing. But every instinct screamed otherwise. Emily wasn't a liar by nature. She was gentle, steady, the kind of woman who left sticky notes on my coffee mug that said things like, "Good luck at work," and "Dinner at 7, love." But now, even her warmth felt like a performance. One night, I waited until she fell asleep, her breathing soft and even beside me. I reached for her phone on the nightstand. The screen opened easily. Same passcode she'd always used. My heart pounded as I scrolled through her messages. The girls' group chat was filled with the usual chatter. Selfies, memes, talk of work. Nothing suspicious. But then I noticed another chat, one she'd renamed simply M. My chest tightened. The first message I opened made my stomach twist. Miss your laugh already. Feels too quiet without you. Emily, stop. You'll make me want to drive back tonight. I read every line, every emoji, every stolen moment preserved in text. They'd met months ago, through Sophie apparently, after some office event. It had started as friendly banter, then drinks, then something more. There were photos. Blurry sunsets, hotel balconies, and one that broke me. The two of them on a pier. His arm around her waist, her smile radiant and unguarded. The same smile she wore when she walked through our door. I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe beside me, wondering how long I'd been sleeping next to a stranger. The next morning I made pancakes. Her favorite, blueberry with too much syrup. She sat across from me, scrolling through her phone, humming some tune. You look tired, she said. Didn't sleep much, I replied. Kept thinking about that trip. She glanced up, wary. Oh, yeah, I said. Just wondering how it feels to have someone hold you on a pier while your husband's at home fixing the leaky faucet. The fork slipped from her hand. What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone, opened the photo and slid it across the table. Her breath caught. Color drained from her face. Noah, she whispered. I can explain. I laughed. Quiet, bitter, hollow. Please. Go ahead. I'd love to hear it. She reached across the table but I pulled back. It wasn't supposed to happen, she said, voice trembling. We were drunk. It just... I stood up. Drunk doesn't explain months of messages. It doesn't explain lying about a girl's trip. Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't mean to hurt you. Then why did you? Asked. Why him? She stared at the table. Because you stopped seeing me, Noah. Her words hit like a slap. You stopped looking at me. We became routine. Quiet dinners, tired conversations, separate worlds under the same roof. And then Mike just noticed me. He made me feel alive again. I wanted to scream, to tell her I had noticed, that I'd been trying, fighting, waiting for her to reach back. But all that came out was silence. The following days were a blur of anger and disbelief. Emily stayed with her sister to give me space, though I knew she was just trying to figure out how to face me again. I found myself staring at our wedding photo on the mantel, her head resting on my shoulder, eyes full of a trust that now felt like a cruel joke. Friends told me to leave her. My mother said, once a line is crossed, it can't be uncrossed. But my heart refused to accept it so easily. 8 years isn't something you just erase. On the 4th night she came back. She looked pale, drained, holding herself like she might collapse if I raised my voice. I ended it, she said softly. With Mike. It's over. I didn't respond. I've been staying at Sophie's. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I know what I did can't be undone, but I can't lose you, Noah. Please. Her voice cracked. I love you. The thing about love is, it doesn't just die when someone betrays you. It fights, claws, lingers, even when logic says it shouldn't. I wanted to believe her. But the image of her with him haunted me every time I closed my eyes. Love, I said quietly. You gave that to someone else. She stepped closer. I made a mistake. Horrible one. But I'm still the woman who knows how you take your coffee. Who waited outside every surgery when your dad was sick, who kissed another man while still wearing my ring, I interrupted. She flinched. The silence that followed felt endless. Then she whispered, if you can't forgive me, I understand. But please don't let this be the end of us. I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I'd once built my world around. The woman who now looked like a stranger begging to be let back in. I don't know if forgiveness is even possible, I said. But I do know I can't keep pretending nothing happened. She nodded slowly, tears streaming down her cheeks. Then I'll wait. As long as it takes. And just like that she walked out again. Weeks passed. The house grew quieter, emptier. Her side of the bed stayed cold, but her presence lingered in everything. The smell of her shampoo in the shower, the half-read novel by the couch. I tried to hate her. I really did. But hate requires energy, and all I had left was exhaustion. One evening I drove to the lake, the same one from the photos. I stood by the pier as the sun dipped below the horizon. The air was cold, sharp, and honest. I thought about how easy it is to lose something precious, not because you stop loving but because you stop noticing. I took a deep breath and whispered to the empty air, "Goodbye, Emily." Then I turned my phone off and walked away. 3 months later a letter arrived. Her handwriting. Neat, careful, familiar. Noah, I'm not asking for forgiveness anymore. I know I broke something sacred. But I want you to know that you were never the reason I strayed. You were the reason I came back. I still wear my ring not as a claim, but as a reminder of what I destroyed. I hope one day you find peace, even if it's not with me. Love, Emily. I read it 3 times before folding it back into the envelope. There were no tears left, just a strange, quiet acceptance. Some betrayals don't end with shouting or revenge. Some end with 2 people standing on opposite shores of a life they once shared, staring across the water, knowing they can never cross it again. And that's how ours ended. She found freedom, found peace, and love, what was left of it, drifted away, silent as the tide.